Aloha, everyone! Yesterday, I was talking with a very good friend of mine about classic movie musicals, and she asked me if I could do a review of the songs from one of these classic movie musicals, specifically my favorite one, Singin' In the Rain. And since you don't have to twist my arm to get me to rewatch Singin' In the Rain, as I said, sure. So this time, I have done a review of Singin' In the Rain before. This was done a long time ago. It is still on my channel if you're interested in seeing that. That was a review of the movie in general. This one, however, will be looking at the songs individually and how they work in the film. The movie was kind of unusual as a movie musical goes. Usually the conventional wisdom is that you get your story first, and then you write songs to work into the movie that are written for that movie, that fit the story that you're telling. In this case, a studio executive who had once been a songwriter for the studio had gone to the filmmakers for Singin' In the Rain and had asked them to create a movie using the songs that he and his writing partner had written together for the studio in the past. So, with two exceptions, all of these songs in Singin' In the Rain were written for other musicals. They were not written for Singin' In the Rain. So, usually in a movie musical, what you want to do is you want to have the songs, the musical numbers, further the story, or reveal something about the characters. That's generally the conventional wisdom about how you do a musical. In this case, what they had to do is take songs that already existed and write a story around them. And it ended up being one of the most beloved musicals of all time. I mean, people love this movie, and I'm one of the people that love this movie. So how did they do it? Well, if you look at the songs individually, as I did rewatching the movie last night, you see that there is a subtext to the songs. The lyrics aren't about exactly what's going on. They're not written to reflect exactly what's going on in this story, but they found the points in the movie, in the story, where the heart of the song, the emotion, the subtext of the song works. It fits, and it enhances the story. And they did a very good job with it for the most part. The first song you hear, except for the main title, and by the way, there will be spoilers. I'm going to go through each one of the songs as it relates to the movie. The songs are throughout the whole movie, so yes, there could be spoilers for a 1952 film, if that makes a difference to you. So beware, spoilers can be up ahead. But the first song happens during a flashback sequence in which Donald Lockwood is having a radio interview telling the story of his rise to fame. It's an unreliable narrator technique being used here, as he's telling a story of his very sophisticated and dignified upbringing as he was brought up in the arts, in the high society. And what we're seeing on the screen is anything but that. We're seeing him just barely, eking out a living, traveling with vaudeville. And in vaudeville, at the time, vaudeville would have been considered kind of a lowbrow form of entertainment, if you're not familiar with vaudeville. But they do stop on one of his vaudeville performances, and they show you like the whole number. And that's the first song, Fit as a Fiddle, in which he is playing that along with his partner, Cosmo. And in the song, on the surface, it's just sort of a fun throwaway song. It's called Fit as a Fiddle. They're playing the fiddle and singing and dancing and hopping around and just being kind of clowns and trying to make people smile and laugh. And there's sort of a meaning to it if you look a little bit deeper. The lyrics go, fit as a fiddle, ready for love. which I think describes Donald Lockwood at this point. He's young, he's eager, he's fit. He's so ready for things to take off for him. He's so, he craves that attention, that life so much. So he's ready for love, not the love of a woman, but the love of an audience. He's out there, saying to the audience, "Please love me." So the song, kind of really fits that scene very well. The second song that we will hear from them is from Kathy Selden, as she is a chorus girl, dancing girl that's been hired for the premiere party for the new Donald Lockwood, Lena Lamont movie, and she's hired to pop out of a cake and then greet some of the guests and then do a little song and dance number with a bunch of backup dancers. And the song is, as you would expect from that kind of performance. The song's called "All I Do Is Dream of You," and it's kind of a love song. The lyrics sound kind of romantic, but they've arranged them in a very fast-paced. It's a Charleston, which also it helps to set your time period. This is the 1920s, so it's a 1920s style of music. It's a Charleston, and it's played very playfully, kind of flirty in this situation, so not entirely seriously. What it does do is, because it does have that, the sort of romance in the lyrics, it's not serious yet, but it is foreshadowing the romance that is about to bloom between her and Don. And there is a scene cut from the movie in which the song is reprised. If you ever get to listen to the soundtrack, listen to the Donald Lockwood singing the reprise to this song, in which he's singing it, but it's no longer done in that playful, flirty style. It's done in a much more sincere way. That, I think, is the most interesting thing about this song, is the contrast between how it can feel like one thing arranged one way and feel like a very different kind of song arranged differently. But you don't get to see that in the movie. You only really know that if you're listening to the soundtrack, or you maybe get to see the deleted scene. The next song is the first one that is an original song for the movie, but I would put original in quotes because it was, let's say, very heavily inspired by another song, a song called "Be a Clown," which was not by the same writing team. It was for another musical from another, I believe Cole Porter wrote that. But it's a very, very similar song. But the scene in the movie is, it's the funniest scene in the movie. It's hilarious. Cosmo's performing it. He performs it solo. And this is where, when I was rewatching it, I started to pick up on something I hadn't really realized about the film before. And that's one of the things about, like, the great movies, is that you can watch them multiple times, and you pick up on new things you hadn't seen before every time you watch it. And I was starting to pick up with this one how Cosmo, he's giving his mission statement here. It's make them laugh. He's saying to Don and to the audience, hey, this is what I am. I'm a clown that I like to make people laugh. I like to make them smile. I like to sing and dance. And that's what I am. And that's what Don is too. But Don has already bought into this idea that he is this dignified movie actor. He's a little shaken by this because along has come Kathy, who has presented herself as an even more dignified stage actor. And he's beginning to question how dignified he really is. When Cosmo is there to remind him of the truth is that dignity is your facade. What you're really about is to just get down there with the people and make them smile, make them laugh, do a dance, and have fun, and spread that joy. And Don has kind of forgotten this, but Cosmo hasn't, and he's making that statement in this song, Make 'Em Laugh. And it's one of my favorites in the movie. The next thing you get is, I don't even really want to classify it as a number. You get a medley that is, it's kind of a jumble, and it's intentionally that. It's a transition. It's during a montage scene in which it's establishing just how quickly talkies, and specifically musicals, have just begun to dominate Hollywood, and so they're throwing bits and pieces of like 3 different songs at us, just jumbled together. So it's not so much of a song, it's just a transition, it's just something there for function. I guess it was a way to throw in some of the songs from the list that they had to use in a way that doesn't highlight those songs, but does get them into the movie. That leads directly into the Beautiful Girl number. Beautiful Girl, it's well, and this, I think it's kind of odd in that it kind of feels like it's from another movie, because it is. Not just because it originally came from another movie, as all the songs did except for 2, but this is a film about filmmakers in a film studio. Throughout the movie, they're making other movies. So this is another movie that's being made. Apparently, they're making, it's a fashion show, or it's a movie about a fashion show, or something like that. But it's got this song that's just kind of randomly thrown in there because the storyline, we're not being given the storyline that fits into. It's we're just being told that this is another movie that's being made, and it's just there so that we can reintroduce Kathy, who has basically been blacklisted by Lena after having accidentally thrown a cake into her face. So as revenge, Lena has blacklisted her, and she has managed to, under the radar, slip into the chorus of this number for this other movie that's being made. And Cosmo happens to walk in, and he sees her, and he knows that Don's has kind of fallen for her, and he's been looking for her, and so that is able to reintroduce her. The song being about a beautiful girl, I think, does say something, though, in this scene, in that this is a song about beautiful girls, but this movie's beautiful girl, the leading lady of this movie, is also being reintroduced in this scene. So, yeah, you can see why this song may have been chosen for this moment. That takes us into what I would call like the love song in the movie, and there are a few love songs in the movie. This one is really the love song, the one that really sells it. This is the one where Don really proclaims his love for Kathy, and this is one where the pretenses sort of fall away, in which they kind of reveal to each other. Kathy reveals that although she's claimed that she didn't hardly know who he was, she actually had been a really big fan and had been, reading the fan magazines, and he proclaims that he is that he's basically in love with her, and he takes her to a soundstage, and it's practically empty soundstage. There's a backdrop, there's a big fan, there's some lights, and a ladder there, and this is more of the scene than the song, but I really have to credit, they're able to take these little bits of movie magic and turn an empty soundstage into a pretty darn romantic setting. And I love this song. It's a pretty romantic song. It's a song about you were meant for me. It's about being destined to be together. And a lovely melody. That's my second favorite melody out of any song in the movie, with my first one, of course, having to be the title song, Singin' In the Rain, and I'll get to that later. But it's a beautiful melody, very romantic lyrics, and a very romantic setting. It's our two leads dancing together, our romantic leads dancing together. It's just it's a great scene with a great song to punctuate it. It's kind of a shame that this isn't like they don't revisit this as the love song. This song is not reprised. They bring in other love songs later, which don't really have the impact of this one, I think. I also think that this song is the reason why they had to cut the reprise of "All I Do Is Dream of You" earlier in the film, because I think that would have made this one a little bit redundant, and I think this one is the one you needed here. So that takes us into Moses. Now, this is the second one that was written for this movie, and there's hardly any lyrics to it. It's this basic tongue twister that they just start singing to. Moses supposes his toes are roses. It's just meant to be a silly song, but it's a very fun song, a very fun dance number. What I think is going on here, as I watched it before, I'm noticing this through line of the abandoning of pretenses, as you watch these songs unfold. And in here, where the scene is contrasting Lena attempting to learn diction with Don Lockwood also seeing a diction coach, and he apparently is just natural. Cosmo comes in and starts, with his, clowning around. And in this one, he's not doing it alone. Don joins in, and as I'm seeing this, I'm saying this is Don starting to realize what Cosmo's been trying to tell him, that he is a song and dance guy. It's in his blood. He's there to clown around and make people smile and make people laugh, and that's what is truly in his heart. That's his true self. And you see him start to embrace it in this number. The next one is Good Morning. I love this one. I noticed this is the only one with our three leads, Cosmo, Kathy, and Don, actually singing it and dancing it together. So this is the only scene where they're all doing it together. And it really highlights how well they work off of each other. It really highlights what a great team these three are together. It's a very joyful film. I'm sorry, a very joyful song. Well, a very joyful song and a very joyful film, actually. It's just so happy and just energetic. The whole movie is just really energetic. But it's happy, it's energetic. You feel good listening to this and watching them dance to it. And it's... what it is it's the kind of thing that... Well, it's... Good Morning is it's the kind of thing that you would really like to hear, like you would wake up to every morning, to kind of make your mornings feel really good. And it's not long after that one ends that the movie it does it one better. That's when we get our title song. It's "Singin' in the Rain," and if Good Morning was joyful, "Singin' in the Rain" is downright euphoric. I mean, if you watch Gene Kelly as he's singing and dancing to that. In this scene, we're watching him just taking a moment to just revel being in love with Kathy. And man, does he capture that feeling, that euphoric feeling. It's incredible. This is a scene that if you haven't seen the movie, you may have even seen this scene. This is classic movie gold. The song and the dance is just a piece of pop culture history, even more so than just a piece of cinematic history. But the song, I love the lyrics, and it's such a beautiful melody. It's one of the greatest melodies I ever heard, and I'm a guy that's a sucker for a good melody. Some people like it's got a beat and I can dance to it and they like it because of that. Give me a good melody, and that's it for me. And this is one of the greatest melodies ever. And it's matched with these incredible lyrics that are expressing not just happiness, but being so happy that nothing can bring it down. You just go out in the rainstorm and just sing your heart out because that's how happy you are. And that I mean, even if the rest of the movie stunk, and it doesn't, because the rest of the movie is incredible, but even if the rest of the movie stunk, I mean, this scene alone and this song would be absolutely worth it. Okay, the next one we get is Would You? And this is the love song. Within the context of the movie, the love song is being written for the movie that they're making, The Dancing Cavalier. So it's kind of a little out of context for what we're doing. We're seeing a little bit of, it's kind of Kathy is singing, it's kind of a wink and a nod to Dawn as she's doing it. But really, it comes across to me as a lesser love song. It might have made more sense if we were actually watching The Dancing Cavalier. This song is the only one where a portion of it is sung by Lena. You do not want to hear Lena sing a song, so that is going to mar this song. Not the best song on the soundtrack, unfortunately, and it's another love song, and it's already been eclipsed by a better one earlier in the movie, I think. And then the Broadway Melody, which is, as far as a song, there's not much to it. There's a few lyrics along the way about how great Broadway is. It sets up the mystique of Broadway, because the movie that they're making now is about a Broadway dancer who dreams he's a cavalier. So they're trying to sell the audience now on Broadway. The scene that this is in is, the scene itself is just a fantastic piece of visual storytelling. There's no dialogue, there's a little bit of lyrics in the song, but they're just talking about how great Broadway is. They're not telling them anything about what's happening to this one dancer that we're following throughout the segment. And you know exactly what's happening to them, and there's no dialogue. It's all told visually. And I picked that up this time on this new viewing of it, and that segment is pretty awesome for that reason. Not to mention it has some spectacular dancing, of course. But as a song, it's overshadowed as a song by the dancing that goes on in that segment, I would say. That brings us to the last song in the movie, which is another love song. This is the final love song that Dawn sings to Kathy. When the whole story's wrapped up, Lena's been exposed as a fraud, not singing for herself. Kathy's been credited now as the one whose voice the audience loved. And Dawn sings "You Are My Lucky Star." And what this is a song about being starstruck. And so this is the big star, the big Hollywood star, singing to the newbie that he's starstruck by her. So it's kind of this role reversal. Now, this is another instance in which a part of the song was cut. What we're hearing in the movie was actually the reprise. Kathy sings this song earlier in the movie, but it was cut. And she's singing it about Dawn, and this is just further revealing how much of a fan she had been of him when she sings it earlier in the movie. If you hear it on the soundtrack or you see the deleted scene, you'll see that. And if that had been in the movie, then this final one would have paid off better, because it would have been a setup and payoff thing. And while I agreed with the other cuts, I think this one, if in a shorter version or something like that, they could have maybe fit that into it, it might have made this reprise pay off a lot better here. But as it's in the finished movie, it's not a reprise anymore. It is the song, and to me, it comes off as like a necessary love song to end the movie, but it's also a lesser love song because the big love song in the middle of the movie was much better. And that pretty much covers all the songs. Overall, I mean, they're incredible songs. The ones that are less than incredible, I think they fit them in such a way that they're not highlighted. The ones that are highlighted are the incredible songs, the memorable songs, with incredible melodies, and ones that you'll remember, and you'll find yourself singing, and you'll just find yourself smiling just thinking about these songs. And how they're used in the movie, again, I picked up on this whole theme that's been going through the movie of, everyone except Cosmo has this pretense. So, Don thinks that he's this very dignified movie actor. Kathy thinks she's an even more dignified screen actor. Lena thinks that she's, again, thinks that she's a big movie star, but, we find out when the talkies come in and there's another element being revealed. They have to now speak. They have to now talk and sing, and the audience is now going to learn more about who they are. So the question is, do you go on with the pretense, as Lena tries to do? Or do you, in fact, go back into yourself and find out what is it that is truly me that I can offer to the audience, and you drop the pretense? And that's what that's what Don and Kathy do, and they find their happy ending because of that. And Lena, of course, she doesn't do that, and she's exposed for having basically nothing beneath the pretense. I mean, once you take the pretense away from her, there's nothing of substance left, and she suffers for it. And our stars get their happy ending. That about wraps it up, I think. So, like, comment, subscribe, and that's a wrap.